You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I mentioned at the top that today's show is brought to you by FanDuel's America's #1 Sportsbook, and the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Even if the Rockets are out, they're still in full swing. Every night, highlight performances. I mean, last night, Halliburton, what else could you be asked for, right? Major momentum shifts, can't miss moments. The NBA playoffs are drama like no other, and FanDuel make it easy to get in on the game before tip-off, live, whenever, mid-game, player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. $200 bonus bet if you first $5 bet hits. I'm too excited to not can't get the words right here. It's a great time to get over to FanDuel and get in on the action. It's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place that first $5 bet. If it hits, $200 back in bonus bets. That's $200 back in bonus bets. The first $5 bet hits. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official betting partner of the NBA. Park Rangers Locked On Cougs here. Talking about Brett Yormark, commissioner of the Big 12, officially extended through 2030. Had to think some of the deal here is with the potential TV deals and all that unraveling around that exact same time. For what it's worth, if you didn't know, his deal was signed in 2022, set to expire in 2027. So this is formally a 3-year extension tagged onto the back end of that. Houston was not in this conference when that shift took place necessarily. Yormark came in for Bob Bowlesby in 2022, signed a new TV deal, added the 4 Western schools like within that first year or first 18 months. He also welcomed in the 3 American schools and BYU, and Houston being involved in that. It was hard to say that Yormark did anything short of welcoming Houston and the others with open arms, showing up to Houston basketball games, talking about how Houston is a great market for this conference and how he enjoys city-type markets. If you notice, he added Orlando, Cincinnati, Houston, Greater Phoenix, Salt Lake City. Like, he's looking to add these more metropolitan kind of areas. I don't think that that's any accident. We look at his background, the New York City thing, the Nets thing, etc., Rock Nation, right? All of that. But it's hard to knock him as being anything more than a great success for Houston as far as a conference commissioner goes. Obviously, some credit has to go to Bob Bowlesby for ultimately bringing Houston and those others in. Technically, I say that because I guess they were ushered in like when the first day Houston was in the Big 12 officially, like playing in the Big 12 was under Yormark. The deals had all been signed under Bowlesby, right? And that was before him. But that all could have fallen apart. Bowlesby went out the door, Texas and Oklahoma, and their big dollar signs and whatever left as well. And most people assumed this conference was going to fall apart. And I don't mean that to say that like adding Houston was the reason, but it's no secret that the 4 schools they added in that switch did make as much money as either school they left, all 4 put together, right? And things have grown. Houston's grown exponentially with the Big 12, right? But the big things that Yormark does was he made sure the conference didn't die, and it didn't just survive, it thrived. The Big 12 was continuing to grow and grow and grow. He got to the TV deal first, beat the Pac-12 with the punch, and watched that conference fall apart as he stole 4 of their schools out from under him. Stabilized the Big 12. That's a legacy as far as Brett Yormark goes, especially when people, like I said, assumed it would fall apart. And what's interesting is he's had this mantra the whole time about being open for business. He's been ready for this era of college sports that is all about business. It's very professional feeling. He comes from a pro sports and marketing background. Look, he's done things as forward thinking as discuss the idea of selling off the conference's name, right? Making it the All-State 12 or the Dr. Pepper 12 or the whatever 12 to try and, find ways to gain more dollars for the conference in that way. They've talked about private equity. They've talked about having multiple TV deals for different sports, basketball and football being separate big time TV deals because of how big the conference is in terms of basketball, right? He's talked about having games in Mexico. I still think that's potentially about to happen in the next 18 months. We have some games being played in Mexico as a way to continue to market the league. He came from the outside of college sports, came into the Big 12 and continues to think outside the box and do things outside the box. And it's been fascinating as someone who fancies himself, again, one of my other day jobs, I teach history. Someone thinks a lot about the history of college sports, so things change a lot. Now, the only constant is that there's change, right? He's kind of been able to navigate that seamlessly. He's not talking about the old ways, the old days, et cetera, and how we got to get things back. And he's not on TV complaining about how this, then, the other is happening. It's all forward, right? And I think it's fascinating that as much as that's the case, he still has a lot left to do in the next 5 years of his term, of his contracted term. I'm assuming if things go well, he'll get another extension if he wants it. I'm assuming. But his biggest goal moving forward has to be to continue to secure financing to propel this conference to the top level of college sports. And, I think, and I'm sure you as a listener think, because you're a Houston Cougar fan, that the Big 12 is ahead of the ACC and solidly in third place in most categories as far as like viewership data and things like that. You also factor in the ACC has had some real serious scares with falling apart and all of that. The Big 12 is adding members, and the ACC kind of scaredly added Cal and Stanford when the Pac-12 fell apart because they needed to get in the game. SMU, they said, oh, yeah, I guess if you pay for yourself, you can join in on the party or whatever, right? The ACC kind of feels a lot less stable because the schools kind of want out. Further, that gigantic TV deal looming that's going to come around the 2030 mark when this contract ends, theoretically, if he wants to get himself extended, signing that before then would be important. That's something the ACC can't get in on because of their weird TV deal that goes for so long. They all signed for way too long a term once upon a time. And, it's popular to look at realignment. I'm not sure what between him saying that they're open for business and the constant conversations that sounds like that are happening. What seems like every school that wants to join a Power 4 conference, he's like, let's talk for a second, right? Every school is unhappy in their Power 4 conferences. Well, let's talk for a second. He has these conversations, or some representative of the Big 12 seems to have these conversations all the time. Getting more schools in college football playoff. Can you get a second, a third school in that CFP? Getting the money, the respect, the exposure, et cetera. Diving into private equity, seeing what the best way for college sports program to do that will be. I tend to put that as the last possible option. If it's that or not having college sports, I guess that's one thing, but I kind of put that at the back of my own thing, but he's not me, right? And whatever the case may be, whatever he's going to get done, the biggest goal of the next 5 years is going to be getting that dollar amount closer to that $60 range, where the SEC school is getting, around $59 million per school right now based on payouts from different postseason deals. And the Big 10 is also right around 60. A full share in the Big 12 is going to be about 40. Houston's going to be getting that very soon. They've been at the less than that as they came out of a non-power conference, right? But even from 40 to 60 is a big gap. And so the next 5 years of Yormark is going to be, how does he continue to shrink that gap? And I'm telling you right now, with how Houston's basketball program, the energy and momentum Fritz has in the football program, with how things are going presently, the upward trajectory of Houston athletics, if you also find ways to, in a world of the house settlement happening, a world of NIL, and a world of all those things, find ways to get Houston closer to that $60 million range that SEC competitors in their own backyard have, suddenly things get expedited for Houston too. And going to be keeping an eye on that, obviously. Keep an eye on all kinds of things Houston Cougars and Big 12 here every day. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so we're live here each and every day here at Locked on Cougs. For a second listen, I've been recommending Locked on College Basketball as they hit the national level stories about all things college hoops. Again, thanks for listening to Locked On Cougs, being every day or here every single day. Locked On Cougs, the prime member of the Locked On Podcast Network. That means your team every day. Go Cougs.